or welcome back to Hungry Diabetic. Today I just wanted to talk about what diabetes really is and give people that understanding on the difference in cause and treatment. When I was diagnosed, one of my mom's friends was like, "But your daughter ain't fat." Clearly. So I hope that this video does help people to understand the difference in type 1 and type 2. If you are already familiar with it, I apologize if this sounds a bit too teachy, but I just assume that not only diabetics are going to watch these videos, and I would like it to be inclusive and in a way that everyone could understand. So just bear with me, please. Diabetes is basically a disease where the body is not able to transport glucose from the blood to the cells that need it. When a person eats, carbohydrates or sugars in the food is broken down into glucose that enters the bloodstream, or sometimes your body has glucose stored that it also releases on its own that also end up in the bloodstream. There's a hormone called insulin that's responsible for moving the glucose from your blood to the cells that need it. And when the pancreas is functioning properly, it's able to produce insulin in enough or sufficient doses that's able to keep the blood sugars in a safe range. When the pancreas is not working properly or the body isn't responding well to insulin, then glucose in the blood builds up and the person starts to see signs and symptoms of diabetes. Most commonly known types are type 1, type 2, and gestational. 450 million people worldwide are living with any form of diabetes. 90 to 95% of those people are type 2 diabetics, whereas only 5 to 10% of those people are type 1 diabetics. So that's where the misconception and the misunderstanding of the different types come in. Type 2 diabetes is also known as being insulin resistant. The pancreas still makes insulin, but the body doesn't use it very well, or it's not making enough to control the levels of glucose in the blood. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease, so the immune system does its job in fighting off bacteria and infection, and it just gets overly excited and begins to attack the insulin producing cells in the pancreas. When those beta cells are depleted and destroyed, the body is not able to produce insulin, so glucose builds up in the blood, and that leads a person to feeling very sick. Without insulin to transport that glucose, we can end up in a state of diabetic ketoacidosis. Diabetes is diagnosed through a blood test, and they can either do a fasting blood glucose test, which means they wait 8 hours since your last meal and then test your blood, or they do a random blood glucose test. So regardless of when you last ate, they test your blood, and that number in combination with any symptoms you might be having is enough to diagnose you. Normal blood ranges for a non-diabetic is between 4.0 and 5.4 millimoles per liter. That's before a meal, or like when you wake up in the morning, and then after any meal, your blood sugar should be below 7.4 for a non-diabetic. A diabetic, however, we have something called a safe range. So upon waking up, your blood sugar should be anywhere between a 4 or a 7.0, and anything below a 9 after eating is considered safe. We do have the potential to go either above that range or below. So going above that range is called hyperglycemia or high blood sugar. Basically, when hyperglycemia happens or there's too much sugar in the blood, we are supposed to take insulin, and this is a rapid acting insulin used to reduce blood sugars very quickly. We take it either when we eat or when our blood sugars are too high for whatever reason. And then on the other spectrum, if blood sugars are too low, so anywhere below 4.0, then we have to take a fast acting sugar. Hypoglycemia is a more emergent state than hyperglycemia. Having high blood sugars does lead to a lot of the diabetic complications that people have, but having a low blood sugar is literally a life and death situation, and a person needs to get fast acting sugar in them right away. A person with type 2 diabetes is able to manage their diabetes through exercise, diet changes, or oral medication. Some of them do require insulin if their body doesn't produce enough, but it is possible to just treat with oral medication, diet, and exercise. A person with type 1 diabetes has to take injections all the time, every single day. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, if you follow this diet, it's going to help. Food is not the only thing that affects blood sugar, and even if I ate perfect, even if I never had any carbs or sugar, I would still need insulin. Things like sleep, exercise, sickness, all have an impact on the levels of glucose in the blood. I know people don't like to hear it or believe it, because a lot of people do believe that diabetes on a whole could be reversed, and I would like to believe so too, because I literally hate taking injections. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that I struggle with my injections. I am getting better, yeah, but it's still not an easy thing. And if I could have done anything to not take injections, I would. Until there's a cure, a person with type 1 diabetes will always need insulin, either through pens, syringes, or an insulin pump, because their body just doesn't make any insulin to transport that glucose from the blood to the cells that need it. I hope this video was helpful or informative to anyone in understanding the differences between diabetes. I could talk more about either the symptoms or the types of insulin that we use. I do use a short-acting and a long-acting insulin. So if you are interested in knowing more about those, just let me know and I'll be happy to share that. Thank you all for watching this video. If you liked this video and found it informative, please like and share it with people who you believe will benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe.